Hi, I'm EllaAradia and welcome to your Psychic Tarot Love Reading. This reading is for my Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn Earth signs. The timestamps are below, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into your person's hidden feelings for you. This is a love reading and it's for those of you who are already in a connection with someone. Even if you are currently in no contact with your person, this will be a very specific message, so it may not resonate with all of you. If it feels right, then it's meant for you. Otherwise, you may want to check out the readings for your other placements, so Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoyed this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then get notified when the next videos are up. So Taurus, let's jump in. So I always like to tune into the energies first, Taurus. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see what the universe shows me. I'm already seeing some kind of repeated pattern, feeling kind of stuck in a loop. Something that just keeps on playing out, like things get better for a while and then it kind of just reverts back to the way it was before. And I'm feeling a third-party influence here. Now, that's not always a romantic one. Like, it can be career-related, it can be family. For many of you, you might be dealing with someone here whose career is, you know, taking a lot of their time. It might even put them at a distance. You know, it might be someone here who has a job that, you know, kind of takes them away for sort of certain periods of time. Or someone that's working towards life goals, you know, and they're really kind of focused on that. They're wanting to get ahead, get to a certain point, you know, financially or in their career, you know, with a view to the long term. And I do feel like you've made a lot of space for that. But what I'm not seeing happening is your needs being met. So what I'm feeling here is you're not getting the time, the attention, you're not feeling loved in that way. And it's a feeling of beginning to, anyway, feeling a little bit alone, even though you're in a connection with this person. So the overall energies, we have the Queen of Cups. This is all about emotional wisdom, you know, mastery, looking after your emotional needs. So, you know, the Queen of Cups has like a huge amount of depth, a huge amount of love to give, but the lid on the cup is closed because it is about, you know, having that emotional wisdom and discernment as to, you know, how much you give and to who, and making sure that those energies are reciprocated to you. Your person's view of you, the Three of Pentacles, this is this third-party energy. So the Three of Pentacles, it's often related to career. It's earth elements, so it's career, finances, you know, things like that. So that's why I'm feeling this strong energy here that, you know, this may be career-related, you know, that's taking your person a little bit away from you at this time. But it can sometimes indicate a romantic third-party energy. There's three people in this image, but not always. Their feelings towards you, the King of Swords. That's that emotional support that I feel like you're needing, that you're not getting, because the King of Swords is someone who tends to make their choices and decisions, you know, based on the facts of a situation. They're quite logically minded. They're a deep thinker, but emotionally, you know, quite difficult to read, and definitely not somebody who kind of leads with their heart. Their intentions towards you, the Six of Cups. Some of you might be at a distance, you might be in separation, or there may be a no contact situation here going on. Because the Six of Cups represents nostalgia and looking back at the past, reconnecting to good times, memories, moments where, you know, we felt loved, you know, happy memories, things like that. Your feelings towards your situation, the 9 of Wands. Like I said, I feel like this is some kind of, you know, ongoing situation. The 9 of Wands indicates, you know, a connection where there is some history, there's been some investment in this connection over a period of time, but it's something that's coming at a cost, you know, like the figure on the card here, there's an exhaustion here. But what lies after this is a 10, you know, which indicates the ending of, you know, perhaps a difficult time, a challenging time, one that started to feel kind of heavy, something that you might feel you're carrying. What lies in the challenge is the King of Wands, the hidden influence, the 4 of Swords. There's definitely for some of you a separation or a feeling of being a little bit closed off or shut down from each other. And the challenge can be also perhaps a third-party influence here in this. The King of Wands, you know, that's these energies of fire, of passion, and, you know, following those kinds of desires. You know, this could represent, you know, whoever this third-party influence might be, because it's coming up in the challenge position. It can also represent, you know, somebody who just follows their heart, goes after what they want, they move through an energy of inspiration. But you may be being asked to just take a step back and reclaim your power in this. And, you know, the 4 of Swords, I often do look at that as the no contact card. You know, there may be some space between you. You may have spoken your truth. And that may have triggered, you know, a little bit of a shutting down or closing off from your person. And sometimes that space is needed. Sometimes people need to be in their own space to connect with their true feelings. You know, what do they truly want? And there's always a thing where, you know, when we feel a gap or a space of, you know, for a lot of people, we try to kind of close that gap. The anxiety kind of kicks in and we're wanting to kind of close that gap. But what is going on right now with your person is this, the 6 of Cups, reflection, going back over the past, reconnecting to the good times and, you know, what you do have with each other. And so if there is space there right now, just know that there is a lot going on. You know, it's never an empty space. And you know, if we keep putting our energy into someone's space when they are closed off and they are needing that time, it makes it more difficult for them to really reflect and get in touch with their true feelings here. And as I said, you know, it may not be like a betrayal here. It may just be there's a very strong work influence, you know, they're very focused with that King of Swords. And it may just be that, you know, what's happening is kind of pushing you apart from each other. And, you know, you're feeling tired and worn down and you're needing, you know, a little bit of kind of love, presence from your person, that emotional support. Your advice from the universe, Page of Swords. This usually comes in when we're still trying to, you know, gather all the facts of a situation. We're trying to make a decision, but we're kind of waiting and kind of seeing, you know, how things sort of start to unfold. Gathering information. I mean, that can also indicate, you know, somebody looking at your socials as well. That's why I feel like there might be a bit of a kind of a no contact or distance thing going on here. But, you know, the Page of Swords, it's just, yeah, you're at this point where, you know, there is some kind of decision to be made. There is, I feel, communication that's needed here. And the reason why I feel like there's a loophole, Wes, is I feel like it's the energy that you're in. And it's not a judgment, of course, but I feel like there's a big fear that if you express and hold true to your true needs and what you want, there's a fear to lose this person. And I feel like that will go back to childhood, where perhaps your needs were invalidated or overlooked. And so you put them to one side in the hopes of love. And so there's this fear that if you know, really speak from that place of truth and honesty and hold strong to it, not collapsing those boundaries, because that's what I feel happens. The boundaries start collapsing. Every time you put things in place, you know, things start happening again. You let the boundaries be compromised, and you're back in the same pattern again, because there's a fear to lose this person. And that's maybe the thing that you need to kind of go back into childhood and have a look at. So a little bit of inner child healing. In your outcome, the Chariot. So this is an energy of, you know, movement, moving forwards, but also doing it from a place of power. You know, reclaiming your power, getting back in the driving seat of your life. Because I feel like, yeah, you're sort of a little bit at, let's say, the mercy of this person. You know, are they going to, you know, invest more, spend more time? But actually, you know, it is to look after your emotional needs and not be afraid to kind of speak up, not be afraid to, you know, hold your boundaries, even if it might mean, you know, moving on and walking away. Because usually, you know, that can be the thing that is the game changer in these situations. And it doesn't always have to mean that you lose this person. You know, sometimes it can trigger, you know, real change, you know, in a connection. So let's get your person's hidden message. So the hidden message is for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. So Taurus, I hope that you can forgive me one day. I feel like that's going to be, yeah, the betrayal that I'm feeling for some of you. I will wait for a sign from you. I love you unconditionally. I don't react when people mention you. I love you. So Taurus, I'm going to leave that there. We are going to move on to Virgo. Hi, Virgo. So one more shuffle. Okay, Virgo, let's jump in. So I'd like to tune into the energies first, Virgo, before I start pulling any cards. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see what the universe shows me. I'm already feeling like there's a lack of clarity around where you really stand with your person. I see mixed signals. I feel like this is someone that is kind of open, closed, back and forth. It's like they kind of come into your life really fast, then they're kind of pulled back again. And when you're with them, I feel like it's great. I feel like you get on really great. You have a lot of fun and a lot of chat. And everything just feels great when you are with them. But then after you've seen each other, there's this kind of, yeah, almost like disappearing, or, you know, communication just starts to drop off. And that's leaving you in this energy of really not being sure, I feel, where you stand with this person. And I do feel a little bit of a breadcrumb energy here, I have to say. Doing just enough to kind of keep you there, to keep you interested, but not stepping up further. So let's look at your overall energies. The Six of Cups, a card of nostalgia, of revisiting the past, going back over old memories, photos, conversations, connecting to moments where, times were good and we felt loved. So some of you might be in one of those moments where communication has kind of dropped off and you're wondering, like, what is going on here? Your person's view of you, judgment, their feelings towards you, the Five of Cups. Some of you may have said that enough's enough here, and you may have, taken a step back. You may have, taken some space, or you might be in separation. Some of you might have even ended it. Their intentions towards you, the Lovers. So the Judgment is, an energy where someone's being asked to question something. And it's about learning from the past, learning from, let's say, there are no mistakes, but let's just say learning from the mistakes of the past, moving forward so that you don't go down the same roads again. And it's a moment of a life review, and that's where they are. So whatever has gone down, because I do feel like there is some kind of separation here or no contact situation. They may feel that they've lost you. You may have ended things. The Five of Cups is a card of loss, of regret, of disappointment. And it's very often when somebody is kind of looking back over the past, and with that Six of Cups there, remembering, all the great times and how much you have given them, how much, all these happy times that you've had together, because I do feel that. And there is this sense of loss, and I do feel like they're very much in an energy of, regret, reflecting, looking at, their behavior, how they've been showing up in this. Because what I'm feeling is a little bit of an energy of pulling back all the time to slow things down so that it goes at their pace. There might be a fear of kind of letting go into love. There might be a fear of commitment here. And so they've been doing kind of just enough to kind of keep things going. But this closing off and pulling back, coming in and out of your life all the time, I feel like that's their protection, fear to embrace, something that feels real and loving, a fear of that commitment, a fear of opening their heart. But right now, there's a fear of getting hurt, but right now they're facing that. And, there is some kind of choice that, they are going to make here. The Lovers is all about a relationship choice. And it's a really important decision because it's one that needs to come from a place of truth. And, so for those of you that are in, a separation or no contact, let it be. Because sometimes, we need to allow that space so that the person you're dealing with can reflect. They can get in touch with their true feelings. They can work out, I feel, what is truly important to them. Because that's the invitation of the Lovers. It's about making a decision from that place of truth. So I do feel like, whatever has occurred here, the person you're dealing with is in an energy of questioning, of reflecting, going back over the past, and really seeing, I feel in this moment, what they stand to lose potentially. Your feelings towards your situation, death. So change is needed. And you need to know where you stand. You need this person to show you to step up. And, you know, death is, it's not a negative card, like it's a transformation. And it's one that requires growth, you know. So the energies of death are a little bit like a rebirth. It's the letting go of an old way of being, the way things were, or the way that you were, or them, and some kind of rebirth, some kind of new beginning. And I do feel like they're going to get there, because ultimately I don't feel like they want to lose you. I just feel like they've hit a little bit of a challenge around, you know, making that further commitment, you know, with the Lovers card here. This is soulmate energy. You know, this is a deep bond. It has potential. And very often, you know, with these deep connections, there's usually soul lessons. And sometimes they can be quite tough soul lessons where there is an invitation to step into this potential with another person. But to do that sometimes requires somebody to, you know, really face certain fears and insecurities. Because right now they are feeling a sense of loss with you. And the challenge is the Ten of Cups, which is really what I just said. You know, that's your happily ever after card, the emotional fulfillment, love, happiness, you know, wishes granted. And to open up to that, you know, for some people, if they've brought, you know, unhealed issues from the past into the connection, it can, you know, bring up a lot of vulnerability. But that's the invitation of this connection for your person, is to work through that, because, you know, there is a lot they stand to lose here with you. So with your hidden influence, we have the Devil. And I feel like this is an energy for you, Virgo, around really making sure that you look after yourself in this, and making sure that, you know, you're not repeating old patterns here. You're not settling for less. You know, the Devil is all about, you know, toxic connections, you know, connections which feel kind of unhealthy in some way. And I feel like there is a lesson here around loving yourself, respecting yourself, knowing your worth and your value, and not settling for less. And very often we can always follow these things back to childhood. There's something about this situation that you've been in with this lack of clarity, this mixed signals, you know, somebody kind of coming into your life, back out of your life, you know, they're there, but then they're sort of pulling back and closing off. And if you feel into, you know, how that makes you feel, you know, you'll probably be able to relate that back to childhood in some way, in connection to a parent. And there'll be something familiar about that. And we often tend to recreate what we know, what feels familiar. But there is an opportunity here for something new, you know, a healthy love. And so on your side, you have to step up to that as well. This isn't just about your person. And that involves, you know, absolutely looking after your needs in this and staying true to you, and not settling for less, not staying in something anymore that's not healthy or not really emotionally fulfilling. And so the invitation of the Devil here is for you to, you know, really work on that, because when you do, your energy shifts, and that's when the Ten of Cups, you know, moves out of being in the challenge position to, you know, to the outcome. So with your advice from the universe, the Hanged Man, you're being asked to take a step back The Hanged Man is all about gaining, you know, a new perspective, seeing things differently. So I would definitely be focused on, you know, what this is a calling for you to heal and resolve in yourself, you know, because other people are just mirrors for us and we can't change them, but what we can do is work on ourselves in any situation. So being asked to kind of see things perhaps through a broader perspective in a different way. What lies in your outcome is the Emperor, and that's stability, structure, stability. And, you know, whether that's with this person or not, that's about you reclaiming your power and being in, you know, that better space in yourself and in your life. So Virgo, I'm going to leave that there. Let's get your person's hidden message for you. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation or separation. Virgo. I want to be more than friends. It was my fault, but I blamed you. I regret lying to you. My life is not as together as it seems. I replay our conversations over and over. So Virgo, I'm going to leave that there. So we are going to move on to Capricorn. Capricorn, hi Capricorn. So your person's hidden feelings for you, any blocks, challenges, anything that might be influencing the connection that you may not be aware of. So one more shuffle. Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn, let's jump in. So I always like to tune into the energies first, Capricorn. I'm a psychic reader, so I like to see what the universe shows me. Feeling a very deep connection here with the person that you're involved with. And I feel like it's one that has a lot of history. Like there's so much depth. I feel the energy as soon as I connect to that. And there's a feeling of drifting apart to me. And a big question that I'm feeling around, is there still something here to salvage, let's say, or is it time to move on? Because it does feel like a cycle is completing. And, you know, very often with these long-standing connections, you know, we can have soul agreements with that person to meet in this life, because I do feel like it's a soulmate connection. A soulmate's just someone that you've known in another lifetime that you have a deep bond with. And, you know, we can make these promises to meet each other again, to fulfill certain things, have certain experiences. Sometimes, you know, it's to complete something that we didn't get to complete in another life with that person. So the overall energy is the Four of Wands. This is a card often of a milestone of, you know, some kind of significant moment. It often represents, you know, a moment where, you know, things are going to a next level of some kind. The Four Wands, you know, they do represent emotional stability, and I definitely feel that is an energy that you do have in your connection, even though there is this feeling of kind of feeling like you're growing apart right now. You know, you still have, you know, these really, really strong foundations and that love between the two of you. Your person's view of you, the Nine of Pentacles. Now, that's actually a card of independence. And it may be that on a soul level, you might both be being pulled in different directions. That's often what happens. Sometimes, we can be in this energy of trying to work out, why are we drifting apart? Why aren't these kind of sparks there like they were before? This sense of, not feeling in harmony with each other. And sometimes, it's to go beyond kind of what you're seeing right in front of you. And, because sometimes there's deeper soul lessons at play where, contracts are completing, what you were meant to do with that person is completing. And now, there's a different path for you, different experiences, maybe even a different connection further down the line. For some of you, there may be other things that you want to do in life. The Nine of Pentacles is about, creating a life of, that gives you freedom, abundance. So sometimes it can be a moment where somebody, might be connecting to a life purpose of some kind that might be kind of pulling their soul in a different direction, their feelings towards you, the Five of Swords. So you may have had some conflict, because the Five of Swords it's conflict, it's arguments, it's very often things which might have been said in the heat of the moment that, you don't really mean. Their intentions towards you, the Star. I'm glad I'm saying that. That's the energy of renewal, of healing, of renewal, and, wanting to, start fresh, to start over. So, yeah, you may have had some disagreements. I definitely feel that there is this feeling of, on both sides, not really understanding, why you're not really making each other happy anymore. And this kind of feeling like each of you is kind of feeling like the other one is closing off right now. And the Five of Swords is the kind of conflicts which often come at a cost. And, it's each person wanting to be right, wanting to win, but there's always something that's lost in the process of that, whether it's trust or respect or something else. But with the Star there, they're wanting some kind of new beginning, some kind of renewal with you. Your feelings towards your person, Three of Swords, heartbreak, separation, emotional sadness. Because I do feel this, that there is a really, really deep bond with this person. I feel like this is years, like there's a lot of history, memories there. This is someone that you've shared so much with, you've done so much together. And it's like sitting down next to someone that you just know each other so well, completely comfortable. You're sitting down next to someone who just gets you, they just know you. And something's been going on that's been affecting that. And whatever this conflict is, it may have put you at a little bit of a distance. You might be feeling quite closed off from each other. You may be in no contact. You may even have separated. And I feel like it's quite a challenging time because there's a lot of love for this person. In the challenge is the Seven of Pentacles. Now, in the challenge, this represents a pause and a moment of taking a step back, a moment of taking stock, really looking at, what you have. And I feel like it's both of you that are doing this right now. And there is a lot there. There's a lot that has been nurtured and grown and experienced between the two of you over this time. But it's really an energy of looking at, what do you keep? What do you let go of moving forwards? Because it's a card of making adjustments. If something feels like, it's not really working, the Seven of Pentacles is about taking a step back, looking at what's not working, looking at what do you have, what do you want to keep, and looking at, you know, where you put your energies moving forwards. And so there's a little bit of a challenge around doing that right now, because I feel like whatever this separation is, I feel like there's a lot of emotions going on and it's making it quite difficult. There's a lot of sadness. And I feel this on both sides. I feel like you both obviously express that slightly differently. You know, I see one person like, you know, a real kind of like sense of heartbreak and tears and sadness, and someone else that's just very closed off, shut down, kind of disconnected from life a little bit right now. But there is a reason, you know, why this is happening. And it's giving both of you a moment to really work out, you know, is it time to kind of walk different paths? You know, the ending of a soul contract doesn't mean you can't make a new one, right? So, you know, it doesn't have to be the end, but somehow I feel like, you know, if you do choose to kind of continue and come back together, you know, that needs to be different. And there needs to be space for each of yours, you know, purpose or life goals or dreams or the other things that you want to create. And you need to be able to incorporate that into the connection and really support each other. So with the hidden influence, we have the 8 of Wands. So this is energy moving. This is a fast moving energy. It's very unhindered. And if this is a no contact situation, this is a sign that, you know, there will be contact, because that indicates messages coming in, very rapid, you know, back and forth conversations. You know, if someone has the other one blocked, it indicates that you know, that person unblocking you, or vice versa, and communication channels being open. So it really does feel that, you know, whatever the outcome, you know, this moment of separation, it's not permanent. You know, I do feel like you're going to be in touch again. I get the sense that maybe this story is not over, that there is a way to perhaps, you know, do all of these other things that you both want to do and still be together. Your advice from the universe, the 6 of Swords. This is a card of a transition, and it's all about moving away from turbulent times to calmer shores. And it's also a card of solving problems. And there's 2 figures in the boat, which absolutely indicates that, you know, whatever this is that you're going through, there is a possibility here to get through this together. And this is a powerful teacher. You know, the wounds in the heart are where the light gets in. It's where we learn the greatest lessons. And the 6 of Swords is where we take the wisdom. The swords in the boat represent the wisdom that we've gained, you know, from our past experiences, from those soul lessons. And we take that with us moving forwards, moving towards a place of healing and, you know, calmer shores. In your outcome, we have the 8 of Swords, which often represents feeling a little bit stuck, sometimes getting trapped in, you know, the thoughts of the mind. It's a little bit like that mental prison. And swords represent your emotional your mental landscape. So it's all about beliefs, fears, you know, negative limiting beliefs that might be holding you back in some way. And it's very much this energy of kind of feeling stuck. But the invitation of this card is actually, first of all, to remember that those fears can be faced, negative limiting beliefs can be changed. But also it's about dropping into your heart on this one, following your intuition, listening to what your heart's saying in all of this, moving forwards, and making your choice of, you know, what happens next, you know, from your heart. So Capricorn, I'm going to leave that there. Let's just get your person's hidden message for you. So the hidden message is for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. Might be separated at the moment. So Capricorn, I'm not available. Doesn't mean forever. It just means that your person may be a little bit closed off right now. Sometimes I lay awake thinking about you. I'm so attracted to you. Just being near you is intoxicating. I want to tell you how I feel. So messages are coming in, like with that Eight of Wands there, that's communication channels opening. So I do feel that that is something that's going to happen here. So Capricorn, I'm going to leave that there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always do what feels right for you. Always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.